I guess if one day you decide to sit down in front of a camera and talk smack on the internet on a regular basis, eventually you're gonna eat your words.
Whoa, that's f***ing sick.
And we are rolling. Welcome to Adventure in Art. My name is Ben Staley, your resident talking head. In this episode, that's right, we're talking about the Fujifilm GFX 100 Mark II, a medium format, scratch that, because I was corrected by Fuji, a large format flagship camera from Fujifilm. Look, I've got so much to discuss here, you guys, and I don't want this to be an 18-hour video. And it's early in the morning when I'm recording this, so I have a lot of notes here. No peeking, but there's a lot of notes here, and there's a crap ton of photos to show you. A literal metric crap ton. I actually think this is probably the most diverse video I've ever made. Like, this runs the gamut. There are, let's see, I wrote this down. There's landscapes, wildlife, a ton of portraits, because that's mostly what I do. There's even some sports photography, all crammed into like a 9-day period where the homies at Fuji gave me the opportunity to try out their flagship camera, the GFX 100 Mark II. I mean, this camera's been out over a year now, I think, so I'm not exactly Speedy Gonzalez on getting reviews out, but I'm not exactly a review guy either, so here you go. A little background, if you're new here, I am professionally a cinematographer slash director, producer, Emmy-winning DP, Emmy-winning producer, and I'm also a mostly portrait photographer. I'm not in the business of doing camera reviews. I leave that to the smart people that really are concerned about specs and sensors and dynamic range and all that stuff, which is important. It's important. I'm in the business of telling stories, all right? This is a storytelling channel. I consider myself, although a multi-hyphenate, I am a storyteller. That's what I'm about. What's your story? Where are you shooting? What are you shooting? How are you gonna do it? Okay, what are you gonna do it with? I'm gonna tell my story with whatever is within reach. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, for 9 days, I had a GFX 100 II within reach. I did not waste that opportunity. I was always like super curious about this camera. Never used a large format digital camera. I don't know a heck of a lot about Fuji. Never used any of their cameras. Never even, I'm sure I must have touched one at some point. I have friends that shoot Fuji, but this is the first Fuji camera I've ever shot. So I'm already getting long-winded. So let's just get into this. Let's just get into this and we'll break it down. I have some real bona fide valid opinions. I'm definitely gonna give those somewhat throughout, but mostly at the end. Okay, let's go. Before we get started, okay, we're stopping again. Yes, large format, 11,648 by 8,736 pixels. That's pretty freaking huge, 100 megapixels. The lenses that Fuji lent me were the 110 millimeter and the 55 millimeter. The 110 being, you know, it's like an f2, and I thought, well, that's probably their like best portrait lens, kind of really close to like 85 millimeter. I'm not sure the exact 35 millimeter equivalent. And then the 55 millimeter, which is close to like 35, 40, 43 maybe millimeter. That's a 1.7, a little faster, a little closer focus. So you're gonna see that. I'm gonna put the technical info on the screen for most of these shots because some of them are JPEGs and some of them have been edited by me. Most of the portraits I edited because I want to do that. But there's a whole bunch of JPEGs. You know, Fuji famously has these film emulation profiles that you can use, and so I use those a lot and I tried them out, and so I'm just gonna put that info on screen so you know what emulation I'm using, and most of that stuff is JPEGs. Yeah. So that's it, let's get into it. When I get a new camera, or I'm trying out a new camera, usually, you know, you start off, you're sitting in your living room. Well, who do I always take a picture of first? Excuse me, coffee. This is our dog, Zoe. She's a boxer, and she lives a life of leisure. Always take a picture of the dog first. So that's Zoe sleeping in front of the fireplace. The first evening I had the camera, got it in the afternoon, went home, took a picture of the dog. I'm taking Zoe out to the park across the street to do her nightly business. It's like just past dusk, meaning the sun has just gone down. This huge hawk whoosh, swoops right over my head like I could have reached up and grabbed it. Whoosh, lands in a tree right above me. And I'm like, whoa. Ran back in the house, took Zoe in the house, grabbed the GFX, came back out. The hawk is not in the tree anymore. I'm looking around, there's a little playground. There's the hawk. It's on top of this riser in the playground. Took a few shots, got as close as I could. The light is dim. Here's 100%. Look, I see hawks around the neighborhood a lot. There's a couple of them that I know are paired, and I see them on my morning walk because they're always in the same area. I'm not a birder or anything, but birds are so cool and I love photographing birds. So right away, I'm just like, this is kind of good luck. This was to me a good luck sign of like having this little nature encounter and seeing this hawk up close. Falcons, birds of prey. Oh, they're so badass. I knew I was only gonna have this camera about a week and I wanted to not waste that opportunity and use it every chance possible. The first thing I thought I would do is take it for a morning hike, which I do this often. There's this place called Towsley Canyon and I hike there a lot, or I run, but it's like a 5-mile loop. It's a couple thousand feet of elevation gain, so you're climbing halfway and then you're descending the other half. I started early in the pre-dawn hours, hoping that I could get high enough to catch the very moment that the sun was rising. And I did. Freaking love these JPEGs right out of camera. Like, wow, dynamic range, depth, the colors. Right away, I'm like, seriously? I see cameras as kind of like a paintbrush, and I just love photographing abstract shots of nature. Love it. These images are huge, like you could put them on a billboard and they'd be in fine detail. It's pretty cool. Some dew in the grass in the morning. I just love these kind of complex, abstract nature shots. I'm walking home from a walk. The sidewalk is wet and here's a snail. You guys know if you watch the channel, I have to photograph or film snails when I see them if I have a camera in my hand. I just love these tiny creatures. So this is a good opportunity to really see what this 100 megapixel sensor can do. I've got the 55 on, it focuses relatively close, so I'm really pushing to get as close to this little snail as I can. Can I get a sharp image? Here's a couple of my best shots, and yes, I did edit these in Lightroom. I underexposed the image just a teeny bit, just trying to preserve all the highlight detail, and put these in Lightroom and edited them. So then I get home, I take Zoe up to the park. Who's in the park again? The hawk. This time, I'm able to get even closer. This is a young hawk, and I just thought he must be wounded or injured or something. I actually ended up calling animal control because I was concerned about it, and there's a lot of dogs in the park, and I didn't want some dog to pounce on this poor bird if it was in fact injured and helpless. I hung around this hawk for like an hour waiting for animal control to come. The minute the animal control guy showed up, the hawk just flew away. So I don't know what its deal was. I don't know if it was stunned. I don't know if it was having an issue. It's so weird that I was able to get that close. And the minute that this guy shows up and he's like, looks at me like I'm a dummy, like, there's nothing wrong with that hawk. I'm like, yeah, but it's been here since last night, just hanging out. Like something was off with it, but it was able to fly away. And so that's all I'm happy about. Okay. Done with that. Let's get into some portraits. Tracy's a friend of mine that I've photographed in the past, although not for 5 or 6 years. So I called up Tracy and she came out to my studio for a little session. Love these moody shots of Tracy. She's a yoga instructor, a dancer, and a movement artist, and she's just got a vibe, and I love it. By the way, many of the shots you're gonna see in this video, there are many more. I'm only showing you a very small percentage. So if there's something you wanna see more of, or you wanna see some of these shoots like filled out into a whole video, I can do that. Leave me a comment, let me know what you wanna see more of. This is just a taste, so we don't have a super long video. I can't show you all the photos I took in one video. Tracy did some wardrobe changes. This is such a like a witchy kind of creepy vibe, and we were both into it. And I think these are, honestly, I'm super stoked about these images. I hope you like them too. This is Danny. She's an actress, and she agreed to come out at sunrise. I really wanted to test the light. All these shoots were done last summer in early August, so I'm gonna try and, jog my memory and give you as much detail as I can about these shoots. It's just like I have shoots stacked up and on my hard drive over there, for the next like 3 months. I'm always shooting, and generally I just put stuff out in the order that I shoot it, and sometimes it takes a couple months because I have so many shoots that I'm doing. This is Danny at like 6:30 in the morning, so she drove all the way out to my studio for sunrise, and we did a quick session. Really love the look in natural light here. And this is Kara midday in my studio. Kara's an actress and a dancer. Here's a little video with the GFX of Kara. One thing I regret is not using the video features more, testing it out more. I was just so intent on getting used to shooting it, kind of getting into the muscle memory of it, and just trying out stills and just focusing on that. I didn't focus a lot on the video, but here's a little video of Kara. This thing shoots, I think, 8K video, crazy huge image with this big sensor. I'm very intrigued by that. Really pretty stoked about the autofocus with the video and the images that I did get. Kara's a dancer, so I just had her do some movement, put her actually out in the hot sun, just trying to see what the dynamic range was, what I could get here, how's the autofocus. Super good time with Kara. This is Paige, also a dancer, also an actress. She also came out at sunrise to get that early light. Super cool when people are willing to do that.
And yeah, whenever you're ready.
Then we went into the studio and I had Paige do some of her movement.
Amazing. Love it.
I actually brought a strobe, wanting to try the GFX with a strobe. Sadly, I forgot to bring a modifier. I was gonna bring a little umbrella to do some soft light portraits and stuff with Paige. Totally spaced out bringing the modifier. So we just have the reflector on the light, and hard light, not my favorite, but did test out the GFX with a strobe. Worked just fine. Paige is awesome. All right, if you guys watch the channel, you know that I love shooting musicians. I'm trying to shoot more musicians. I'm trying to work my way into the music industry and go on tour with a band. Well, I had this magical day while I had the GFX where I just shot musicians all day. I had a shoot set up with an artist, Sam, who was doing a show in LA at a club. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm on my way to shoot Sam before his show, and my friend Beebs texts me, "Hey, I'm in town. We talked about doing some photos. I'm at Kenny's house. You want to do some photos?" Kenny's from Water Tower. You've seen them on the channel. Well, it was right on my way to the club. I'm like, this is some crazy kismet here. I swoop over to Kenny's. Beebs is there. I do some portraits of her. I shoot some shots of Kenny and Beebs in the back alley by Kenny's house. Pretty rad. I really like these people. They're amazing musicians. They're super talented. We did this whole shoot in like 45 minutes and really put the GFX to the test. So stoked about this. Then I zip over to the club. I meet up with Sam. He's sound checking, and we step outside and do a few shots on the street. Really dig the vibe of these. Then I had a shoot set up with Emily. Emily is a violinist. She's kind of a rock and roll violinist. She's a crazy cool artist. You should check her out on Instagram or on YouTube or wherever you want to check her out. I'll put the links below. But Emily and I have been talking about doing a shoot for several years actually, and it just hasn't happened because I'm traveling for work a lot and she's traveling for work. Well, things aligned. I had the GFX. I said, why don't you come on down? I'm shooting this other musician at a club. I'll just get you afterwards. And we just bopped around on the street for about an hour and got a ton of shots. Emily is so rad. She was doing wardrobe changes. We were switching locations, shooting in an alleyway, shooting in an empty parking lot. Super cool.
How long are you in LA for? I mean, I'm just...
Then Sam had put me on the list for his show, so I went back into the club and watched Sam's show and got a few shots. Here's my favorite one, Small Dark Club in East Hollywood. Pretty cool. What an awesome day. Next, I had a shoot set up with my friend Corey. If you watch the channel, you know all about Corey. She's been on the channel a couple times. She's one of my favorite people to photograph. Corey's rad. We met at the old LA Zoo. This is also one of my favorite locations, and I just thought, let's focus on some really dramatic black and white portraits of Corey. I love her face, love her intensity, love the vibe. Let's see what we can do. Corey showed up ready to go. She brought a coyote skull and a bouquet of flowers. And then she scared the crap out of me climbing up on top of these old animal cages. Really stoked about this work with Corey. Always great to photograph her. Here's a little video with the GFX. I went straight from this session into Hollywood to meet my friend Gavin. Now, Gavin is a stunt actor, a martial arts instructor, and an all-around badass. Gavin actually, if you watch the channel, Gavin actually was the fight choreographer on the film I made last year called The Cookie Jar. There's a whole BTS on that. But Gavin is the man responsible for choreographing the fight scene that the actors did, and we became friends. I have so much respect and admiration for this dude. He's a total badass. Well, he was doing a sparring session with some of his stunt buddies at this little gym, and he invited me over to photograph them while they were sparring. This is honestly like the best way I can think to spend a Saturday afternoon. Although it was about 100 degrees out and it was probably 120 degrees in this little gym, we had fans going. I hung out in there for about 3 hours and watched these dudes beat the living crap out of each other. Really put the GFX to the test. What did I do for lighting? I should have had more lighting. I had a single Nanlite Pavo Slim. It's like a square LED panel, and I just fastened it up to the rafters, put a little softbox on it. It's like this narrow beam of light coming down. It's very dark, very contrasty. They're moving in and out of the light. Honestly, I would have loved to have had a bigger source, but it's what I had, and I just kind of wanted to go for this kind of fight club, really gritty punk rock, black and white fighting images. And honestly, this tested me. I don't do this kind of photography a lot, and it tested the GFX in terms of autofocus, in terms of speed. I didn't have a lot of range just with my lighting. There's like a single bright area and then it falls off into near pitch blackness. These guys are just moving back and forth, away from me, close to me, boom. And I'm trying to keep up with them. I'm following them. I was drenched in sweat. I shot, I think, over 1,000 images. I'm using the GFX in high speed mode, and I missed a lot of shots, but the ones I got, I think, are pretty cool. I edited these in Lightroom and I cropped in a little bit, and this is where that 100 megapixels really came into play and really helped me out. I do think for this session, maybe I could have pushed the ISO a little more. I didn't really know what the ISO kind of range was, or when I would get into noise with this big sensor. I do feel like I probably could have pushed it and it would have been fine in this context. Even if the images were a little grainy, it might have just looked cooler. Anyways, this was a super fun session with Gavin. Really actually love what we did get. When we were all done, went outside and got some portraits of the dudes. Super cool guys. I want to do more of this. I love this stuff. I did martial arts all through my teens and into my early 20s, competed and everything. So I just love being around it. I love photographing it, and it's just a world that is really, it's comfortable, it's intriguing to me. This was super, super good time. The very last night of having the GFX, I loaded up into my 4Runner, went out into the Mojave and drove around the Antelope Valley. I love going out here. It's one of my favorite places, and I just thought, let's get some sunset light. Let's drive around these old dirt roads, see what we can find, see if we can make some landscapes. few of these with my budget printing method. If you want to know about that, there's definitely several videos in the last few weeks, few months where I talk about that. Check those out. Pretty stoked about how these came out. These prints were all edited in Lightroom by me. Something about barbed wire. I just love photographing barbed wire. I love tooling around out here. I love the old fence posts. This whole area and this landscape just inspires the heck out of me. Oh, so that's it. What a week, you guys. Maybe it was 9 days. I was so tired at the end of that. That was maybe the most furious, diverse group of days of photography in a long time for me. Let's get into my thoughts before we get too long here. Thoughts. Wrote these all down so I wouldn't forget. One thing that I felt with this is like the weight, and I don't mean the physical weight. We'll get into that because yes, it is a heavy camera, but there's like a weight, like I have all these pixels. I better not screw this up. Like there's a premiumness to it. There's this feeling of like, if I'm gonna fill up a hard drive, or if I'm gonna take these huge files and put them on a hard drive, they better freaking be good. It feels less casual, like, oh, I have to be serious about this. This is a serious tool. Maybe it makes you try harder. At least it made me try harder. I think. Maybe I just wanted to get the most out of the experience, most out of the opportunity of shooting with the GFX. It's heavy to be expected. I'm a big guy. I don't mind a heavy camera. That's not a deal breaker. You put it on this sling. This is a Black Rapid. This is a Black Rapid strap. It's got big padding. If I'm packing around a heavy camera all day, or even like my Sigma art lens that I shoot portraits with a lot, I'll throw it on that if I'm carrying it, if I'm doing a music festival or something. That's usually what I have. So I had that strap, had the GFX on that. You can feel it, man. There's a weight. It doesn't bother me. It actually feels very comfortable in my hands. Speaking of that, it does fit nice in your hands. I actually, having never used a Fuji before, not being familiar with the menus, not being familiar with the controls at all, I found the controls to be really intuitive. I like what they did here. It's smart, and there's like this little kind of quick menu that's right on the side here, and I can hit that and I could change my film profiles, or I could change settings that I needed. Honestly, within a few minutes, I knew everything I needed to know about how to operate this camera, and I didn't think about it again, and that's cool. And maybe that's just because I'm used to using a lot of different kinds of cameras, but the controls are really smartly laid out and easy. And that was surprising to me. Sometimes you think, okay, you'll get into one of these really high-end super pro cameras, maybe there will be a learning curve, and certainly there are some things to figure out, but for me, I was able to get rolling pretty quick. And what else did I put? It's slower to be expected. Yeah, it feels like it slows down working a little bit, not just frames per second, not just that. The autofocus was fine for me. Like, I didn't have any issues with the portraits at all. I didn't have any issues really with missing focus. I was able to lock onto the eyes, but it does feel like it's intangible, and I wish I could give you a reason why. It felt like I moved a little more calculated, a little slower. I didn't write this down, but let's talk about the EVF. The EVF is seriously the best I've ever used. It's kind of amazing, and I'm an EVF guy. I'm not one of these guys that shoots out here on the LCD. I like an EVF probably because of my vision, and I just like being here. I don't want to see anything else. I just want to be here, and I want to see the image, and I love the EVF in this camera. I love that Fuji is doing things their way. Yes, again, I'm not super familiar with Fuji. I've never used one of their cameras before, but I do see their lineup, and they're kind of making the kind of cameras they want to make. They're not just iterating the same kind of cameras that everybody else is making. You know, there's this kind of standard design of all the mirrorless cameras out there. You got kind of Fuji and Leica kind of making their own kind of cameras, and I dig that. That to me is like, I want, and I said this recently when I talked about the Sigma BF, more weird cameras, more cameras that are unique tools, more cameras that aren't trying to be good at everything and are thus just kind of mediocre at everything. I want cameras that are a specialty. I want cameras that you have an emotional attachment to. I actually love this camera. I think about it a lot. It makes me want to shoot landscapes. If I was doing serious fine art, this would be my tool. It's a serious tool. I didn't know what I would think of this camera. I didn't know if it would be too heavy, it would be too slow, it would be too what. I didn't know if I'd fall in love with it. It's an amazing camera. I actually think about it a lot. Am I gonna run out and buy one? Well, no, it's really, really expensive. It's a serious tool. If you look at it like compared to other really high-end expensive cameras out there, who else makes cameras in this price category? Hasselblad, of course. Some of the Leica cameras are up in this price point too. This feels like it justifies the price. If I was doing serious fine art as a profession, this is probably a camera that I would use. If I was doing really, really high-end portrait jobs, this is probably a camera that I would use for that. Just having 100 megapixels, having these massive files, and I loved the lenses. I really love the look of the lenses, I love the sharpness of them, and I love the character of them. This is a cool system. It is premium, and it feels that way, like it should. It feels like, oh yeah, if you're gonna spend this much on a camera and on the lenses, you're gonna get something that's a cut above everything else. And you can tell that. It's like, you know, driving a Range Rover versus a Toyota, right? I guess if one day you decide to sit down in front of a camera and talk smack on the internet on a regular basis, eventually you're gonna eat your words. What do I always say? The camera doesn't matter. Focus on the story. Use what you have. Cameras from 5, 6, 10 years ago are plenty good. I use them all the time on this channel. Yes, all that's true. Can new badass technology make a difference for you? Yes, it can. In this case, yes, it can. It comes at a premium. It's a very expensive camera. It's freaking awesome. It doesn't look like anything else. Again, I love what Fuji's doing. I love this thing. I'm not gonna run out and buy one. If I had a specific kind of job I was doing, this is a tool that I would definitely use. And I can't wait to use one of these again. Very, very, very cool. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you liked or if there's something you want to see more of. I appreciate you watching this long, rambly sort of review. Thanks for letting me borrow your camera, Fuji. I'm glad we're friends. We'll see you down the road. And you guys, look, if you can't afford or don't want to spend the money on a $10,000 plus system by the time you get lenses and stuff, that's just fine. Maybe a large format Fuji camera's for you, maybe it's not. If it's not, don't worry about it. What's important? The story, the subject, the location, and your point of view. Use what you have, make what you can, get out there. See you soon, thanks for watching.